Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Larry Smith, principal at Staley High School. I'm very excited to welcome each of you to our 8th grade parent informational session on college and career pathways at Staley High School. I'm looking forward to sharing with you tonight information about these college and career pathways, along with the opportunities your students will have to engage in industry-themed learning during their high school career, beginning next year, freshman year. As we've been working to prepare for this journey here in North Kansas City Schools District and at Staley High School, it has been very evident that in schools that engage students in linked learning through industry-themed pathways, students just work harder and dream bigger when their learning connects with them and connects them to the world. And that is a big part of what this pathway model focuses on here at Staley, connecting students with their learning and then to the world they will be entering when they graduate. College and career pathways in this type of linked learning is a proven approach that engages students in a way that inspires them and adds a real sense of relevancy to their educational experiences. Now, before we get started, I did want to remind everyone of a few protocols to help our informational session to go smoothly. First is one that I've said a couple times here to start the evening. If you would, please mute your mics and keep your mics muted throughout the session. That will greatly improve our sound quality. Next, throughout our presentation tonight, if you have any questions, please type those questions into the chat. Due to the format of our meeting being on Zoom and our time limit, we may not get to all questions tonight. If we do not answer a question that you have tonight, please know that a follow-up form will be emailed to you after this meeting where you can ask additional questions and a member of our team will contact you personally to answer those questions. Okay, our first slide of the evening. Our first slide of the evening really speaks to the why behind our district shift to pathways and that our North Kansas City School District shift is making in terms of high school education. It began with this portrait of a graduate. Our process for redesigning our high schools began with this portrait of a graduate. This was a collaborative process between our Board of Education, our school leaders, teachers, and community members. They all came together to start this process with the end in mind. The competencies that all graduates should leave with are represented here in the North Kansas City Schools District portrait of a graduate. These really focus our students on their sense of belonging. It ensures that they are college and career ready, that they leave with advantages heading into a college or a career, and focus on student learning. So from here, we went and started to look more at the pathway model. So what are pathways and what is their purpose? Pathways are a 4-year program of study centered around an industry theme or college major even. They connect academics with real-world experiences, and they are designed to prepare all students for post-secondary education and career opportunities. Next, it's my pleasure to introduce Megan Halpin. Megan is our college and career facilitator here at Staley High School and has more information about pathways.
All right, good evening, everybody. Like Dr. Smith said, my name is Megan Halpin, and I am the college and career facilitator here at Staley High School. So first, I just kind of want to talk to everybody about what our pathway structure looks like here at Staley. So we have 4 college and career pathways that are divided up into 4 schools of. These 4 schools of are based off of KC Mid-America Regional Council data, and these are based off of areas of interest and need here in the state of Missouri. We have the School of Business Leadership and Entrepreneurship, the School of Design, Innovation, and Technology, the School of Health Sciences and Services, and then the School of Public Service and Communications. You'll notice that we have schools of, but underneath those schools of, we also have pathways. So within each school of, that pathway is just a little bit more focused area. Structurally speaking, you can kind of think of a school of as a college within a university. And then for our pathways, you can think of those as majors within a college. Please note, By no means are we asking your student to pick a major right now, simply just an area that they're interested in and a possible lens that they might want to learn through. In each school of, students are getting all 4 of their core classes, all of their graduation requirements, all of their elective options, and all classes are still being taught to the same standards. So a big question for us is how are students choosing their pathway? We want students to pick off of what they're interested in. We're also using SchoolLinks, our college and career planning platform, as a guide. In October at Newmark, students took an interest inventory on SchoolLinks and received results of career areas that they might be interested in. Newmark teachers and staff have also been working to help develop conversations with students about careers and interest areas to help develop their knowledge base. As we begin second semester, we will also have a variety of opportunities for students to learn more about pathways and what programs and opportunities surround each of them. Our counselors spend time with 8th grade students to help them understand their options, explore their interests, and make sure that their voice is heard when they select their pathway. Our goal really is to expose students to career areas that they might be interested in, allow them to explore and learn more about that area, teach them transferable skills that can be used across all career fields. If a student does decide that they're no longer interested in that particular path they selected, they do have an opportunity to change their pathway. Oops. Okay. As students begin to explore their options at Newmark for which pathway they might be interested in, here are a list of some major careers that fall within each of our pathways. By no means is this an extensive list, but it's just a starting point for discussion. Again, one of our goals with pathways is career exposure. We want students to explore careers that they're interested in and that they have heard of, but we also want them to explore those that they didn't even know existed. We're incredibly excited to have a large base of industry partners to help us identify skills, projects, and connections for all of our students. We want students to build that real connection, know the why behind what they're learning, and be excited about all of the opportunities that they have. Okay, so here is just a sample schedule. So students will still take the same 4 core classes that they have always taken. So they're math, science, English, and social studies. And each of those courses, again, are still taught to the same standards. Honors and AP options are available and encouraged for those core classes. However, the goal is also to incorporate industry themes within each of those core classes. So for example, if I'm interested in the School of Business, maybe in my science class, we're talking about ethograms and learning about animal habitats, how they survive and how they thrive. In my ELA class, we're talking about informative writing, and we're working on how to inform specific audiences on a topic. What do they need to know? What's the best way to convey information? And in my technical core class of media marketing, we're talking about how to best push out new information to a company. So what does my social media calendar look like? What tweets should I push out tomorrow? Then at the end of all of these units, we're taking a field trip to the zoo to put it all together. My group could be in charge of a specific animal, and we would work to make sure their habitat is appropriate and then present informative materials to zoo patrons. There may be units where I still read Shakespeare and I learn to memorize a math formula, but in my pathway, the goal is to see my interest of business in themes in each of my core courses and then practice these portrait of a graduate skills consistently. Again, I still have a variety of elective options available in whichever pathway I choose. So within those 4 core classes, I also have 1 technical core class, which is a required course, and that's my area of industry focus. So for example, if I'm interested in the School of Business Leadership and Entrepreneurship, and my pathway is media marketing, my technical core course would be the Intro to Media Marketing class. And then I still would have my 3 elective options. So on a block schedule, which our freshmen will have next year, on an A day, my first block would be Algebra 1, then ELA 1 honors, my Intro to Media Marketing class, and then Art 1. And then on a B day, I could take AP Human Geography. I'd have my biology class. I would do choir and then maybe Spanish too. So again, this is just a sample of kind of what you could see a typical freshman schedule could look like in the School of Business Leadership and Entrepreneurship. So real world learning. Within Pathways, we want to provide students those real world learning opportunities. This is different from our traditional high school experience, where often only off-campus programs can offer those on-site visits, internships, client-based projects with real community clients. For example, for our freshmen this year, we wanted to provide 2 guest speakers for every freshman student each semester. Currently, we've exceeded that goal, with each student receiving a minimum of 4 guest speakers. These guest speakers range from current Staley seniors giving advice on what to do your freshman year, to an MBA recruiter talking about what skills they look for, to local law enforcement and crime scene investigators going through a demonstration of a crime scene with students. As students progress throughout high school, we want to provide them opportunities to really see themselves in the real world, connecting with local businesses, networking with professionals for future internships or resume reviews, providing on-campus college visits, and helping students investigate specific areas that they're interested in. We want students to know what opportunities are out there and how best to prepare. It's been incredible the response that we have received from businesses, and we love being able to hear the advice they give and then in turn our response from students. It's easy for us to tell them to work hard, to collaborate with their peers, and to get good grades. But when we have college students come in for a panel last week and they said, "Hey guys, this is important," for some of our kids, that's really what clicks for them.
Okay, thank you, Megan. So next, a little bit more information on how can we help your students prepare. We've been doing several things the last year and a half, 2 years to prepare students to make this choice of which pathway they want to pursue while in high school. Things like interest surveys and really having students take a deeper look into the things that interest them the most, what their passions are, and what they could see themselves doing. Newmark teachers and staff have also been working to expose students to additional potential majors and careers, as well as the things that motivate them the most and what their interests are. Our teachers here at Staley have begun this work of preparing for next steps and welcoming your students. They've been engaging in continuous professional development in this area, as well as practicing lessons and creating lessons, doing curriculum writing, participating in externships, where teachers themselves go and immerse themselves in a business that is in line with their pathway to get a greater understanding of what goes into that and how they can bring some of those things to the classroom to create authentic learning experiences for our students. And we've made many, many connections with local businesses and formed partnerships to do things like bring in guest speakers like Megan mentioned, partner with them for internships, for job shadow experiences and things like that. So it's been a really neat thing to see how our school community has been able to partner with our greater district community to really make learning more relevant and engaging for our students. Also this spring, we will have a pathway fair and more information coming through an interactive website for all of our parents. You may be asking yourself then, well, what can I do as a parent to help my student prepare? Here's just a few tips for how parents can enjoy or engage in this conversation with their student. First is obviously just informally discussing careers with your student, getting a better idea of the things that they may be doing in school to assess their interest and talking to them about their interest in potential careers or college majors that they may have. Help them think about their interest and how those could translate into college. Talk about what led you to your career and your career path. Have them explore different things they are interested in and what type of careers or majors those skills could be applied towards. Our ultimate goal is interest, engagement, and career awareness. Next up are just a few frequently asked questions. First one, can my student change pathways? That's one that we get quite often. And the answer is yes, absolutely. At the end of each year, students have an opportunity to change pathways to find something that they think is maybe become more relevant for them or a greater interest for them. Also, I will add that students, and this goes to the next one, can they take whatever elective they want? Yes. So there is one elective that comes with their pathway selection, but they have multiple electives that students can select when they're in high school. And so of their other electives, they can certainly pick ones outside of their pathway interest, or within their interest area that they selected. But both of those opportunities give students a chance to explore the things that they might be most interested in. Next, what about off-campus programs such as early college? All off-campus programs are still on and available for our students here at Staley. So being enrolled in a pathway does not eliminate those opportunities for our students. How is a student placed within a pathway? Students will fill out a pathway request form. And through that process, we will slot students into a pathway, and then this spring inform them and their parents of their pathway choice and which pathway they've been placed in for the next school year. Okay, at this time, we're going to go to the chat and take a look at potential questions that you may have. Go ahead.
All right, guys, if anybody has any questions, you can go ahead and drop those in the chat. One question we did get was, will these slides be shared? And yes, we can absolutely share these slides. In a follow-up email, we can attach these and make sure that you get these slides as well.
Another question that we had in the chat was, so they have to wait a full year to change if they realize this is not the path for them? The answer to that is yes, they do have to wait a year to change. However, that's not outside of your normal course change structure. So at the beginning of the school year, students select in any year the classes that they're going to be in for that year. Once the school year is started, the majority of all our classes are year-long classes. So they wouldn't change to new classes until the next school year started. For a class that's a year-long class, we typically do not switch any of those mid-year without some real extenuating circumstances that would warrant such a change. And so changing at the end of the year is when classes would normally be changed anyway.
Okay, so we have a couple of questions about selection. So I just kind of want to go back to that really fast. So students, their enrollment is kind of in February. So what will happen is beginning at the end of January at Newmark, they'll begin some pathway exploration. So they've already kind of started that here in the fall. They've gotten some information, very generally speaking, on pathways and some career education. However, in January, they'll be able to do a deeper dive. We actually bring teachers and students over to Newmark, where we get to do a little bit of a presentation for each pathway, and then students have the opportunity for some Q&A. And then our counselors also go back over to Newmark again before enrollment even begins to answer some more questions about pathways, or if students have something specific that they're struggling with. Our counselors have the opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation with kids and really kind of help them with that process. After that, so students actually get placed into a pathway first. And then after that placement, they will go through the enrollment process with our counselors here at Staley when they come over to explain that. Another question, do they have the same guidance counselor all 4 years? Yes, they do have the same guidance counselor all 4 years if they stay within their pathway. If they do change their pathway, they will have a different counselor. So if each of our counselors has a pathway that they are assigned, and those are the students that are their students. Another question, is there a chance your child won't be placed in their selective pathway? So how the process works for students selecting their pathway, they will fill out a form, and it will say they will get to rank their choices essentially. So they'll rate them a 4, 3, 2, or 1. A 4 is this excites me. A 3 is I would be happy here. A 2 is, I'm not sure this is for me. And a 1 is, this isn't for me. And I will say last year, students that preferenced and went through the preferencing process, we placed all of our students in their 4 or 3 pathways. So this excites me, or I would be happy here. So within that survey, students rank their pathways, they get to explain their choices. And then they also talk about what elective options they're interested in, what they're interested in potentially outside of school, and also for their potential post-secondary options. So we have a host of information that helps kind of educate us on where a great fit would be for some kids. Sometimes students, pick a pathway that they're, they actually might be interested in different pathways. So that gives us an opportunity to say, hey, you said that you would really be interested in nursing, but you picked the School of Business. Are you actually interested in business, or are you really interested in nursing? What pathway do you want to be a part of? So it lends us an opportunity to really get to know the kid and their choices, and then have conversations if needed. When can students begin to take their survey or questionnaire? So the interest survey that they took, they should have taken in October. They can actually go back onto that interest survey and take it as many times as they want to. So depending on the day, if their interest changes a little bit, it can inform them maybe of some other areas they might be interested in. But as far as the enrollment process goes, I believe it's in February, mid-February, when they'll start filling out that survey. I don't want to give a specific date because I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I believe mid-February is when they'll start to fill those out. Mid-February, the end of February.
Another question that we have is that if a student is not interested in any of the 4 schools of and the pathways that fall within those schools of, is there a general ed option? And there is not a general ed option. Students do pick one of the 4 pathways, and then we work to connect them in that mode through one of those 4 pathways.
And then just to add on to that question as well, last year we did have 1 or 2 students ask if they could take the tech core of a different pathway, since they were interested in 2, to see which one they liked better. And that's also another option for students. They are allowed to kind of switch those electives as well. Where is the interest survey found? So it is on School Links. And I can send out the website as well on the follow-up email. Students log in through Clever. So it actually is their student ID and password to their computer/email. So that's how they can log in, and they can actually share their account with you online so that you have consistent access to that as well. And if anybody needs any help with that, I'm more than happy to help you log into your student's account.
I'll take that. The next one, is there a cap on the number of students selected for a pathway? We do work to try to keep our pathways balanced, but we do not have a definite cap on each pathway, no. Okay, that appears to be the end of our questions. Please know that this is the first informational session leading up to freshman year. We will have more. We have this same session in person on Wednesday night of this week at 6 p.m. here at Staley High School. Then when we get back from winter break, we have additional sessions in January and February where we'll be bringing more information to our families leading up to enrollment and then the start of high school in August. So I just want to say again, thank you all for joining us tonight. We are looking forward to partnering with you to help our future Falcons soar. Have a great evening.